Greetings. Welcome to the University of Findlay's Arts and Culture Show. I'm Sharinda Welton, and I am very pleased that today we will be speaking with Miss Heather Clow from the Marathon Center for the Performing Arts here in Findlay, Ohio. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you on campus and on set.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be here.
Great. Let's talk about Marathon Center for the Performing Arts.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
You have just a bang-up lineup of entertainment and artists through the year, and I was out on your website checking things out, and it looks like you have programming currently scheduled from December all the way through the end of April.
Yeah, right now we do, and we're throwing shows in. So,
That's
you might
amazing.
go back tomorrow and there'll be new shows on there.
That's awesome, because for a smaller community, a lot of times people don't think there's anything going on, and from reviewing some of the lineup that you have, there are a lot of options to choose from. It looks like there's some special series that people can plug into, as well as it looks like there's some programming for family friendly. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Let's start with the series. It looks like there's one that's an up close and personal one with the artist. What's that called?
Yeah, it's called Live at Arms. So we have a small room in Marathon Center for the Performing Arts. It's called Arms Hall. We can use it as a reception hall. We have banquets there, and we set it up sort of bistro style. So we have a stage at one end, a bar at the other. We've got chairs in the middle and tables on the side, and we can bring in some smaller artists. So some of my favorite bands can't fill 1,000 seats.
Sure.
So I wanted a place to put them, and we sell like 225 tickets. It's pretty intimate.
Great.
And it sounds fantastic.
I'm
and
sure.
the bands are just right there. You're really interacting with them.
And so if I choose to purchase a ticket to come to that, in addition to being so close and upfront and personal with them, does that provide me an opportunity to network a little bit with those artists? Do they do a Q&A? Is there a meet and greet? Or is it strictly you come in, you get a drink, you sit down, you enjoy the entertainment?
You can do that, and then usually they stick around after. When there's 225 people, they feel very comfortable coming out into the house afterwards.
How generous of them, because that's still their time, that's still their energy, so that is really cool.
Exactly. So we just had Birds of Chicago, who one of their main people is from Chicago, and he had people come down that he knew, and they hung out after and chatted.
Awesome.
And, yeah, it's very intimate. It's much different than going to a show in a big arena or something like that.
Sure. But some of these artists, I'm sure that they're here on a smaller scale. They work those big arenas. They're networking and they're playing bigger venues with other artists.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be opening for bigger artists. Most of the ones that are performing in Live at Arms are smaller. They're playing
up
bars.
and coming.
Exactly.
Sure, cool.
Exactly.
And so do you go to a buying conference to book them, or are these groups that are sending their information in and promoting to you because they're in the area, like a tri-state area? How does that work for that venue?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I go to Americana Fest in Nashville every year, and frankly, I find a lot of artists there, and that's my favorite music personally.
Sure.
So I go sort of on a personal level as well, but then when I'm there, I hear these great artists playing tiny little rooms in Nashville, and then I can bring them here. But I do go to, it's called, they actually just changed their name from Association of Performing Arts Presenters to Association of Performing Arts Professionals. They announced this big name change, and it was one word. They have a huge conference with thousands of arts presenters, and January in New York.
Okay.
And that's where you meet the artists and meet agents and make those connections.
Sure. So that is one of the series. Then you have a family-friendly series.
Yeah, so we partnered with the Arts Partnership.
Okay.
It's been in Findlay, 40, 50 years or something?
Yeah,
a long time.
They have a wonderful lifespan here, yes.
Yep, and we're doing a short series of family productions, Saturdays at 10 a.m., and we've got some storybook musicals, we've got some circus acts coming in. We just did a pirate show. And it was a lot of fun, the pirate show. The kids are in the audience and excited on 10 a.m. on Saturday morning and jumping around in their seats.
Yeah, for them that's like 9 p.m. for us, right?
Yeah,
Time to play and party.
They're having a great time.
Yeah, they're well rested, well fed, and ready to go.
That's right.
So the entertainers that come in for that, those are, again, booked outside, or those local performers that are through some of the Findlay Playhouse? How does that work?
Yeah, they're national touring artists as well. I mean, we
what
would
a treat
do
for the
local stuff.
families that you're bringing in national art programming for the children. So it's kind of like PBS in town, public broadcasting programming at the child's educational level.
And one of my favorite things is to see these little kids come in and just look at the lobby and go, ooh, and they're so excited to be there.
Well, yeah, starry-eyed and excited. So let's talk about this lobby. I am so proud of Marathon Center for the Performing Arts lobby.
Finley should be very proud.
Gorgeous, yes.
It is. It's beautiful.
And it's got a little nostalgia to it, and it's got a little history to it that is connecting us to New York City.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
and when the theater was reevaluated and redone a couple of years ago, it too was able to gain a little history from New York, correct?
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
So, caveat, I'm very new to Findlay, so probably a lot of people watching know a lot more about Findlay than I do. But the building used to be the high school and then Central Middle School. And when it was about to be torn down, a group of citizens got together and said, we don't want that to happen. It's a beautiful auditorium. We want to save it, and raised $18 million. So it's basically two buildings right side by side. So there's a good portion of the old school, and then they added this beautiful new atrium, the stage house, so on the stage, and did a lot of improvements that way. The New York piece that you were talking about, in the lobby, there is a 11-foot chandelier that came from a salvage house in New York.
That's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It's very impressive. And then the same thing in the theater, there are sconces on the wall that came from a salvage house that used to be in a Broadway theater. And they look like they belong there.
They do. They look like they were designed just for that house.
Yeah, they do. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Just walking into that lobby, and I mean, I did the same thing the first time I walked in as the little kids do. I went, ooh.
Well, and with the chair rail and all the beautiful flooring and everything sparkles, and if the sun's coming in.
Oh, there's all these windows, so the sun just goes right in there.
Well, and even in the wintertime, I've been in there to meet with different personnel, and I look out and see the snow falling, and then to have that chandelier, it's just gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
So
there was a meeting there today, and somebody was in the lounge playing the piano, playing and singing Christmas carols, and it just echoed throughout that lobby. It was just fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. What a rough way to go to work, to have to listen to live music.
Isn't that awful?
Soothing through a building that's full of live entertainment.
Yep. Yeah, I got a bad job.
And then there's education. I mean, there's edutainment where we're going and we're being entertained, and we're celebrating people that have studied their craft, and they're showing it on display through written works and through composed music. But then another part of Marathon Center for the Performing Arts emphasis, mission, focus is also the educational component locally, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so we partner with a lot of different local organizations in a variety of ways. The most education focused is with the Arts Partnership. So they do their youth theater camps and productions there. The Hancock County Children's Choir rehearses there. We've got an education room set up for that purpose.
Great.
So, as many kids as we can get through the door. I was a theater kid, and look where it led me. So
That's
I figure,
awesome.
I want to get as many kids doing theater and learning about theater.
Well, and
as
I think
possible.
a couple years ago, right when you first opened, I know that they were doing some workshop theater where they were working with students and children on some stand-up improvisation.
Oh, wow. That was before my time, I think.
And some classes like that on a Saturday morning, and so that's really neat that you're able to work with and collaborate to expand opportunities for families and young youth and children.
Right, and whenever we can, if we have a show that can do a workshop, either with university students or high school students or elementary students, we try to
plug
do
it
that.
in.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's a great segue, because we have a really special program coming up in January that the university is very honored to be co-promoting with Marathon Center for the Performing Arts, our annual comedy jam.
Yeah, we're excited. So it's your 10th?
It is our
huge,
16th.
16th annual comedy jam.
Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome. That's
so,
great.
And more history of Marathon Center for the Performing Arts. Comedy Jam had its show, the last show open to the public under Central Middle School's auditorium was Comedy Jam.
Oh, nice.
We were the last public show in there. And then when Marathon Center for the Performing Arts opened 3 years ago, we were the first community show to rent the space.
Wow, that's a special history.
It is, and it's a fun connection, and then for it to grow and popularity continue to grow,
Right.
for us to be co-promoting it this year is so exciting. The students have just been bubbling over that they
Oh,
get
that's
to be
great.
back there and working, and the artists, the comedians are thrilled.
Oh, good.
They love the pictures that we've shared with them
Yeah.
of the theater. But our community members, every year they come back and say, are we going to get to go back there for the show? And
that's
every
good
year
to
it's a
know.
mystery. And so they're excited that they're returning this year. So thank you
Yeah.
for
Oh,
collaborating with
Thank
us.
you. And you mentioned the comedians enjoying the space. Every artist that's performed there that I've talked to raves about the space.
Oh,
you
it's
know.
amazing.
It's beautiful backstage. We treat them, we feed them well, which is
Yes.
important.
Yes, it
You know, They have a
is.
comfortable space, and
Well, and they love, a lot of people that aren't involved with theater wouldn't know this, but many times artists within their contract request private green rooms, dressing rooms, shower, accessibility, because many of them are jumping from a plane to a car to perform, back to a
Right.
car, back to a plane. They don't have time to
Right.
enjoy the amenities of a hotel. And that is one thing that Marathon Center really thought through. When you walk back there, you feel like, and they've said this to me, I feel like I'm in someone's living room that's welcoming me. It was built just for me. And they love that space with their private shower and the dressing room, and the racks are waiting for them for their clothing and costumes.
Yeah.
And we take that for granted that that's just provided everywhere, and it's not.
it's true. It's true.
So they really feel special when they get to come in
the
and
importance
be a part of that.
just a washing machine.
Exactly. Or an iron. You
Right.
provide that. And, you know, people coming to a show just take for granted that all of that's available. And sometimes these people are ironing in the back of a car. So they're borrowing somebody's iron from down the
Right.
street kind of thing. So yeah, that's wonderful that that's provided. And
Yeah.
even the piano. Tell us about this gorgeous piano that's
Yeah.
available for artists.
So we have a Bosendorfer piano, and I like to tell this little story that I love piano music, but I don't know anything about pianos. You know, I took lessons as a kid, and that was it. And when I got here, everyone kept saying, "We have a Bosendorfer," and I was like, "Okay."
That's nice.
Yeah. So 2 days after I got here, I go to that big booking conference that I told you about, and I said to an agent, "Yeah, we've got a Bosen something." And he's like, a Bosendorfer? And the artists are so excited, and the agents are so excited. So I quickly learned that it's a very special piano.
It is.
It has its own room, you know, heat-controlled room, and you know, we roll it out on stage, and people are just so excited to play it. We have the Van Cliburn bronze medalist coming in April, and
I saw that.
Yeah,
That
and
looks
he is so
phenomenal.
excited to play that.
And he's a
piano.
pianist.
Right? Exactly.
Why
He's
don't you tell us a little bit about how he has received his honors and awards, since you mentioned him coming?
Yeah.
Let's do a little plug here for him,
Yeah.
because he looks amazing.
Yeah, so the Van Cliburn is every 4 years they have a big amateur piano contest, and I think they're 18 to 30, I think they have to be. And
In
it's
age?
in age,
Okay.
yes. And it's a huge, you know, there's like, they start with so many and then they narrow them down, and you know, it's almost like a sports bracket. And then the top 3 winners, the gold, silver, and bronze, they get record deals and tours. And they, you know, it's only every 4 years, so it's pretty exclusive.
It is, yeah.
And we were lucky enough to get the bronze medalist, and I'm told in maybe 4 years we'll be able to get all 3 medalists, so that would be
wouldn't that-
exciting.
oh my
yeah.
gosh.
But they're incredibly talented. I mean,
yeah.
everyone that enters gets into the contest is talented. So then the top 3 are just amazing.
Now, when they are competing, do they have to create their own composers, pieces in addition to playing the classicals and the jazz and
I
the
don't
different
think so.
categories?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think they compose it all.
Okay,
It's
so
mostly-
it's the learned
it's-
music
yeah,
and
yeah.
playing it to the T of what's expected of that
Right. It
translation.
almost reminds me of, you know, when you watch ice skating, and they have the short program and the long program. They have sort of similar
Sure,
things
okay.
like that.
It would be fascinating to host that. Why don't
It
you
would.
bring that world competition to
they,
Findlay? That would be fascinating.
it would be.
Because we're quite a piano town, actually.
Yeah,
There
we
are
are.
many people taking piano lessons.
And Jean and Margie White purchased the Bosendorfer for the Marathon Center, and Margie was a piano teacher here. I know,
Yes,
so.
yes, she was my piano teacher.
Oh, was she really? They're
Yes,
fantastic.
They are amazing, yeah.
And they're sponsoring the show as well, so they obviously have a deep love of music and piano music.
Absolutely. Well, just for that reason, everyone needs to go to that show. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the website for a minute.
Sure.
I noticed that when reviewing that, there is an opportunity for rental. I had mentioned that shows can be rented, the space can be rented out for communities to come in and host shows there. But you had mentioned a smaller venue space that people can register to rent out. Are all of the rooms scheduled so that different venues can be rented for different things, and can multiple things be happening at the same time? Are there fee scales according to for-profit, nonprofit? How does all that work?
Yes,
Could you
to all
share?
of that. Yes, absolutely. We have multiple spaces for rents. You can rent our parking lot, which is festival ready. And I know that they've done some fundraisers out there. You can rent just the atrium with that chandelier, and we've had weddings there, ceremonies down there.
Oh, I bet that's beautiful.
It is. And then the lounge, so that's just upstairs from the lobby, and you can have receptions, Christmas parties. We do a lot of Christmas parties there.
Great.
And you can rent them in combination as well. So we've had some like wedding ceremonies down in the atrium, and people are standing in the lounge watching, which is kind of neat. Yeah, it's like a balcony on the wedding. And then we have Arms Hall, which you can do pretty much anything in. We've had a number of big banquets and events like that, wedding receptions. You could do concerts. We've had kids plays in there, and they're all rentable. It's definitely a sliding scale. So if you're a nonprofit, we work with you, and we can do cash bar. You can just pay for everybody at the bar. We have caterers, preferred caterers. We can do pretty much anything there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so with some of the smaller venues, do you have people coming in and hosting recitals and things? Like we were just talking about the piano playing, and I know that there's strings, and there's so many different private lessons here, and then those instructors do recitals. Do instructors take advantage of that opportunity to get the students in there and get them exposed to being in a hall, and maybe a smaller scale, but just getting them to live that dream?
That's a great idea.
Thank you. I think it is.
Yeah. Not to my knowledge, we have a lot of ballet recitals in the space.
Okay.
So it's a similar thing. But yeah, that would be a great
Wouldn't that be
idea.
special?
I mean, certainly we'd be willing.
You have these kids come in and they're like, wow, I want to be in here someday. And they can start at a smaller scale and work their way up.
Yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
really great.
Yeah,
and then speaking of working our way up, let's go upstairs. You have a beautiful hall area where different artists display their artwork.
Yeah.
And then just a little around the corner, you have a very important wall with some pretty important famous people's names on it. So let's go back to the gallery area. Could you describe that, and what is the mission of that? What's taking place in there? I saw that you have a very special guest getting ready to come and talk about some artwork. Let's hear all about that.
So that's the Fisher Wall Art Gallery, and the mission is twofold. We want to present regional, local artists, but we also want to, have national artists on the walls as well. I know we've had some Mazza Museum displays there. Right now is a Shauna Finn exhibit, and she's from New York.
Yeah.
The gallery owner that discovered her, so to speak, is a University of Findlay graduate. And he wanted to bring her art to Findlay, and so we have had beautiful, beautiful portraits on the wall. Sold several of them, I'm happy to say.
That's awesome.
And that's entirely programmed by a volunteer committee.
Oh, wow.
And they have been on a mission to get as many people in there as possible. The exhibits last 4 to 6 weeks, which gives us opportunities to do events like the one you just mentioned. That gallery owner, Paul, is coming back to do a couple of talks, free talks. He's going to talk about, modern art business, and he's having a talk for artists as well. And
how generous.
Yeah, it is very generous. And, we do ladies first look luncheons in there. So we get a nice group of ladies in there who can have a glass of champagne, look at the art, and hear the artist talk about it if the artist is available. And we have opening night receptions. Like tomorrow night we have a show, and, the public is welcome to come, and we just have wine and cookies or whatever out, and they
Sure.
get to look at the art. And we're finding more and more people before a show will go to see what's in the art gallery. And I think that's
And then
because of
come
the work of this
prepared
committee.
for questions and connecting. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. We're talking, about having a local high school show in there. So it's a wide variety, which is sort of what the whole center is about. When I got here, one of my goals was to get as many people as possible through those doors. And if, you're going to come see your grandson's drawing on the wall or your granddaughter in a ballet, we want you there.
Well, and diversity in the arts is key also. It's not, so many people are exposed to something as a younger child, and then that's all they understand is the arts. And it sounds like through the mission and the goal of yourself as well as the teams that you work with, it's to expand those horizons and to empower people to try new things in a safe zone.
And we've talked about how beautiful that lobby is, and it absolutely is. But if you didn't grow up going to the theater, it could be a little intimidating.
Very intimidating, yes.
And I don't want people to feel like they have to have a dress or a tie on to come.
Thank
come
you for
hear
saying
Led
that.
Zeppelin.
Yeah. Thank you for saying
great.
that. I have had friends that have been very curious, but did not grow up with the opportunity to be exposed. And I will invite them to events, and they'll be, is it okay if I just wear black jeans and a black T-shirt? Because they don't understand the rest of it. And I have said, absolutely, and we go. And the first thing they do as we're going to our seat is saying, oh, they're in jeans. Oh, good, they're in jeans. Oh, good. So it's true.
Right. I wear jeans to some shows. Come on.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
thank you for saying that.
Oh, that I feel very strongly that the arts are for everybody. And
and artists dress very differently from one another.
Absolutely,
So yeah,
absolutely.
There is not a dress code amongst artists.
Nope, not at all. My mother will say, I miss the days when they all wore suits. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't.
This summer we started a food truck court in our lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I've seen that a couple different times. I
just
wondered
food
if that
trucks
was
are there.
tied to the exposure of conferences and events being held outside to expose people to say, hey, you can do this.
Yeah, it's partially that, but also we want people, I said, if people feel comfortable eating a taco in our lobby, they're going to want to come to a show, or be comfortable coming to a show, more comfortable coming to a show.
That is true.
So we open up our doors, we put tables in the lobby and right outside. They buy a taco, they can come in and look at the art gallery, and it's just getting people through the doors again.
And once again, you are collaborating with local business individuals to support what they are doing and empowering them.
Right.
So that kudos to you for collaboration.
Thanks. And I'm thrilled to say that the farmers market is going to be in our lot all summer next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, so right downtown, stop by after work and grab your fruits and vegetables, and I'm excited to have them there.
That is great.
Yeah.
Great. So we've talked about the gallery. Let's go around the space and look at that beautiful wall.
Yeah.
With the nameplates. That's something very special that's just for Hancock County, Findlay, Ohio, correct?
Absolutely.
Tell us all about that, please.
So that is the Fifth Third Wall of Fame, and it's sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. And they started it, I wasn't here when they started it, but from what I understand, they wanted to honor the rich tradition of arts in Hancock County and Findlay. So they accept applications throughout the year. The deadline is December 31st for the next year. And you can nominate anybody that you feel has made a difference in the arts. They're right now sort of focused on the national level or regional level. So, we have Tony Award winners and really great names on that wall right now. But we're gathering, for next year. And then on the May 3rd, we have an award ceremony, and they're electing one or two. There's a small committee that votes, and they put one or two more names on that wall. And they're these beautiful glass plaques, and it's really beautiful.
And then in May, that's the big reveal.
Right.
So the individuals know and are invited back to Findlay
Yes.
if their schedules permit, but the reveal for the greater community is at that special function.
Exactly.
So again, that's kind of like a Tony Award or a special night out. So
And as someone that's new to Findlay, it's impressive to me how many names are very on a national scale.
Yes,
and
and
they're
a couple
from
international.
Findlay.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
It's impressive.
It's very impressive.
There's a nice Broadway connection to Findlay. And
There,
kind of
yes, there Broadway as well as to Nashville.
Yep.
We have a good Nashville connection with music, and we just have some neat, and we've got LA connections. It's fun to see where home base takes people
Yeah.
and then can bring them back to celebrate.
Right.
So
Yep. It's a nice tribute that Fifth Third has done.
yes, it's very nice, very generous.
Yes, absolutely.
And it goes back to that word collaboration. We couldn't do it without the vision and the investment of others, which takes me to how it all runs. You are officially a nonprofit organization,
We are.
correct?
Yes.
So I am guessing that you are very dependent on donations, volunteerism, many different isms that tie to nonprofits. I would love for you to share with us about that, because we may have some viewers that have been and enjoyed and can't wait to plug in a little bit more at a new depth. And then of course we have those that are hearing, and hopefully we're getting them excited about checking out some of the positive programming that's offered there.
I hope so.
So let's talk a little bit about the opportunity for volunteering.
So
What does that look like?
The biggest one is ushering, of course. So that's simply showing people to their seats. I like to talk about volunteering at MCPA because it isn't in depth. You know, it's fun. You get to see a show for free, basically. Talk to people, see a show for free, and you can't go wrong. And we don't have a minimum, so it's not like you have to sign up for 10 shows, or you could do one show, or you could do all the shows, depending on what you'd like to see and like to do. We have a great team of about 200 volunteers, but we're always looking for more. And Rachel Bish is our volunteer coordinator, and she's more than happy to sign anybody new up. You know, we also have committees. Our board, of course, is completely volunteers, so we're always looking for potential board members. And there's some opportunities within the office as well. The art gallery committee is always looking for folks to help, hang pictures if that's your desire, if you love art and want to be more closely connected to that. So there's a lot of ways to volunteer and just be a part of our community.
Wonderful. And with such as the board of directors, or to volunteer on one of the boards within the house, I'll say, are there job descriptions? Do they need to be nominated by someone that's currently on the board? What would that look like to express interest for consideration?
Yeah, if you're interested, just reach out to me, and I'm certainly happy to chat with you about it. Yeah, the board does elect the next board members, so it would sort of be an interview process, so to speak. You'd meet with some board members, learn about it. We definitely have a job description all written up, and we can explain it fairly easily. But we've got a really nice board and a really impassioned board. A lot of them helped raise that $18 million, so they believe in what we're doing, and they strongly support it.
Sure.
And we're always looking for folks that can join that team.
Great. So Rachel Bish is the coordinator for volunteer services,
yes.
And could someone reach out to her via the website, or is there a phone number? Are there both? What's the easiest way for someone to connect with all your contact information?
Yeah, the website is certainly the easiest. But
what is that?
It's marathoncenterarts.org.
Okay.
Or you can call us at, you're testing me on the phone number, 419-423-2787.
Good job. I have no idea if you're right. I'll test
I'm
it
definitely
as soon as we get off set. That's awesome. So that would be volunteerism. Then there is the opportunity, maybe someone is not able to, doesn't have the time, or maybe this is someone that isn't able to get out as frequently, but still understands the importance and would like to financially invest. Where are you looking for donations of resources, and how do they go about looking into that with you?
Yeah, so we accept individual donations, of course. Like any nonprofit, we rely heavily on those. And you can do that on the website or call the box office, and they're happy to help you through that. And we also have sponsorship. So if you own a company and want to sponsor a show, and that helps shows happen. At the beginning of this season, we brought Johnny Mathis, which was a huge name for us.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have done that without two very generous sponsors. Tom and Kate Donnell and the Blanchard Valley Health System. Basically, I found those sponsors before I made the offer because we just couldn't have afforded it otherwise.
Sure.
So we rely very heavily on those. And then, of course, we take donations in kind. The Bistro on Main is incredibly generous with their food. The Whitson Properties with their hotel rooms. where I was in New England, I couldn't get food or hotels donated. I mean, they were trying to be as generous as possible, but a flat out donation didn't happen. And I got here and they were like, I'm like, we get food and hotels for free? It was very exciting. And it just spoke to me about how passionately Findlay supports the arts. So, you know, we're always looking for things like that. Cars, we have to use cars to drive artists around and items like that.
And sometimes drivers are needed, correct? That's another
Sometimes,
opportunity
yeah.
for volunteerism.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not always, but I know
Yeah.
once in a while something will happen and someone can't get from an airport because of snow, but someone is a certified driver and will call. I think I've heard that a couple dealerships have had drivers that have been able to help in a pinch, so that's really nice.
Yeah,
that
it is.
people are paying attention and seeing a need and stepping in and making sure the show goes on.
That's right. That's what it's all about, right?
It is. So we have talked about a lot.
There's a lot happening.
There is a lot happening. And I think that it also is an opportunity to celebrate why Findlay is recognized as one of the #1 micropolitan areas in the country. We have individuals, we have families, we have businesses, we have school systems that all see the importance of education and an extension of education into the arts and into celebrating a continual life of learning. And we're excited that Marathon Center for the Performing Arts is maybe one of those catalyst centers for Hancock County. And what are the box office hours?
11 to 5, on Monday through Friday.
Okay, great.
But if you call earlier, there's someone in the office, so we could probably help you out.
Okay, and if not, it's really easy to use the services online.
It is.
I know
it is.
a lot
It'll let you
of
pick
people.
your seat.
Yeah, a lot of people really enjoy that, and then just get there and go right to the window, showtime, gather their tickets, and head on in.
You can even put your tickets on your phone, get your tickets to your phone,
Oh,
so you don't even
wow.
have to waste any paper.
Awesome. That's great.
We do a specialty drink for every show, which is kind of fun. So you can stop and get your specialty drink.
Who creates the specialty drinks?
We do it as a staff. It's actually kind of fun. We have a staff meeting. We're like, okay, this show, what kind of drink should we have? What should we call it?
So what will be the specialty drink for the Christmas
You
show?
were going to ask me that, and I can't remember. We just
Okay,
did the
that's
Nutcracker, and we did a snowflake. So it was hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps for the adults, no schnapps for the kids.
Sure.
With a candy cane. So, you know, they're themed.
Fun. Yeah.
It is fun.
Great. So we've got the Christmas concert coming up. Anything else coming up in December? I feel
We've got
like
the University of Findlay band performing. So that's
and that
gonna
goes
be
back to
coming right up.
collaboration.
Yep, exactly.
So that's going to be really special.
Yeah.
And let's talk one more time about Comedy Jam because I'm so excited about it. Those
should be.
tickets are available right now online.
Available now, yep.
And for faculty, staff, and students, first ticket is free if they use their UFID number. The additional tickets are $15, and all community tickets are $15.
Correct.
And again, thank you for the collaboration because we were able to drop that price down, and we're excited about being able to offer it at a lower price
Looking
for the
forward
community.
to a sold-out show.
Yeah, and the doors will open at 7:30 and the show starts at 8. And I know that your team has done an amazing job for all of the shows where you go to buy tickets, you can also see a little bit of a bio, maybe a little video bit, and a description of each artist. So that's there for everyone.
every show, yeah,
And
like, learn a
kudos
little
to
about
your
the
team for
comedians.
doing that because that's a lot of behind-the-scenes tedious work. So please feel free to go to MCPA, Marathon Center for the Performing Arts website to check out what wonderful shows you and your family are going to attend. Now through April, more shows being added.
More to come.
And we are so excited that you were able to join us today. Thank you. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you at the next segment of University of Findlay's Arts and Culture Show.